Welcome to Coruzant Technologies, home of the Digital Executive Podcast.
Welcome to the Digital Executive. Today's guest is Eric Friedrichsen. As CEO of Emburse, Eric Friedrichsen drives the overall strategic direction of the organization from new market growth through to production direction. Eric has more than 25 years of experience driving growth for software companies, and prior to Emburse, he was global head of commercial, SMB, and growth markets for Marketo, a division of Adobe. Before joining Marketo, he was the Senior Vice President and General Manager for SAP's North American Mid-Market and Ecosystems Division. Earlier in his career, Eric had sales, technical, and general management leadership positions at SAP Concur, Business Objects, and Information Builders.
Well, good afternoon, Eric. Welcome to the show.
Well, thanks, Brian. I'm really looking forward to it.
This is amazing. I appreciate us coordinating schedules to get you on here because we really want to jump in and hear your story so we can turn around and share that with our global audience. So, Eric, you've got quite the career in technology, in SaaS as an executive, and now you're the CEO at Emburse. Could you share with our audience the secret to your career growth and what inspires you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think for me, it's clear that I've been very fortunate in my career to surround myself with really, really great people. And it's been absolutely critical for me. And it all starts with aligning with people who have the same core values as you. And, fortunately, my core values are similar to what we have in Emburse, where we focus on sincerity and empathy and empowerment, individuality and teamwork. And so I look for leaders that live these same core values personally and professionally. Obviously, they have to be really good at what they do. They have to have some subject matter expertise. They have to be smart. They have to be hardworking. But they also just need to be fun. They need to be people that others like to be around. And so I've made a career really out of having a really good followership, having great people who bring their whole selves to work every single day. And it's been able to really foster some phenomenal cultures. And with phenomenal culture tends to come a lot of success. So I think I've just been really fortunate to have really good people around me.
That's awesome. And, at the end of the day, I've done several hundred of these podcasts, Eric, and a lot of discussion and the topic is around people at the end of the day. And I know we're a technology platform, but it's the people behind it. And you're absolutely right. So I appreciate the share. And Eric, now that this pandemic hopefully is starting to lift, we'll see. There's, you talk to everybody has a different opinion, but what's your business, your plans for business growth going forward? And will it be any different than the last 16 months?
Great question. We've actually been very fortunate through the pandemic, which is interesting because, Emburse is all about automating spend management. So when you think about that, the first thing you usually think about is expense reporting or automating invoice processing. And some of that is obviously travel related. There's certainly work from home expenditures, and there's, subscription expenditures and advertising expenditures and things like that to go through our systems. But we do have a lot of travel related expenditures. And so when the pandemic hit, I think a lot of people thought, oh gosh, this is really going to be tough on a company like Emburse. And, we were actually really fortunate. We grew double digits organically still through 2020 and through the pandemic. And we've been able to just continue to invest in our growth. And so that's really, I would say, the pivot. So as we were, working our way through the pandemic, we got a little bit more conservative with investment. We made sure we were driving enough money to our bottom line, but we were still growing. And now as the pandemic is starting to wind down, hopefully the latest Delta variant doesn't cause us too much delay, but it's starting to wind down. We're investing more and more in fueling our growth. And a lot of that is around building great products. And then our go-to-market strategy, just really putting people out there to go spread the word about Emburse and how we can help our customers.
Thank you for sharing. That's amazing. And I'm glad that you all did well during the pandemic. We've had obviously mixed stories here on the podcast, but at the end of the day, it's the human spirit that pulled together to take on this challenge. And I'm glad to hear that you all grew during that time. So thank you. And so, Eric, you're obviously leveraging some new and emerging technologies within your tech stack. Anything you might be able to share with us today?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as a technology company, we benefit by being able to eat our own dog food, if you might. So we're fortunate that we get to use a lot of our own products. And I talked before about how we automate expense reporting and invoice processing. A lot of that really founds itself on our mission, which is humanizing work. We're all about trying to remove those mundane tasks away from our customers' employees so that they can go do things that are much more valuable. They can pursue the mission of their company. They can spend more time with their families and with their communities. And so, we get to use this modern technology ourselves so that we can then go do those things as well. So, when you think about expense reporting classically, it was all about taking receipts and taping them to a piece of paper. And then it got a little bit better. You could take a picture of a receipt. Well, we've sort of taken it to a much, much more modern level, to the point where if you're using your Emburse card, and by the way, that Emburse card might be powered by a customer's bank, but you use your Emburse card and you take somebody to lunch. Let's say, Brian, you and I go to lunch. I can go swipe that card after lunch and I get a notification on my phone that says, it looks like you and Brian went out to lunch to talk about the evolution of technology. Is that true? And if I say yes, I'm just done. There's no expense report to be filed. There's no approval process, because our systems use machine learning and data to understand what should have happened. And if it looks like it happened the way it should have, there's no other thing for the employee to do. And so we're fortunate that we get to use this same type of technology in-house.
I love that. And you're actually proactively bringing value to your customers. And that's something that is really, really important in the tech space is that customer experience and bringing value. So thank you for sharing that. And so, Eric, last question here. Can you share something from your career experience that might be helpful for those looking to grow their career in either technology or leadership?
Yeah, I think the first thing that I always try to do is just be authentic. Like, just be yourself. Always. Like, bring your whole self to work. Unfortunately, in my industry, in the SaaS industry, there's a lot of jerks as leaders. And what I've really tried to share with people is you don't need to be a jerk. You can be a nice person and you can lead a company and you can build something super special. You ever watch Ted Lasso?
Yeah.
I love that show. And I think, the way he manages is such a great example. Now, I think he might actually be a fictional character, but I'm going to just pretend he's real. He does such a great job of just being himself, not being a jerk, trying to figure out how to motivate every one of his people, his players in his case, in whatever way it means something to them. And so, he's super vulnerable and he's authentic all along the way. And, how wouldn't you want to work with a guy like Ted Lasso? And so I think that's what I try to get across to leaders that I work with is just be yourself, be authentic. And then once you're there, go look for opportunities to make a difference for your company. And, your company has a certain business that they're in. And so you're always looking for what can you do to help them go drive that business. But sometimes it's a matter of taking away distractions from the core business. And so that's fortunately some of the stuff that we get to do at Emburse when we're removing all those mundane tasks. So we make those things go away. So I recommend to the finance people that I work with and the IT people I work with is go find those problems, that the mundane work that people are doing that takes them away from the mission of the company, and go automate that stuff, do the digital transformation, make that go away so that they have the opportunity to go really contribute to the mission of the company. And that's a great way to make a career for yourself.
That's awesome. And I love the way you shared that example and you learn from others, even if it's through a TV program. So I appreciate that, Eric. I really do. And Eric, it was a pleasure having you on today. And I look forward to speaking with you real soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I've really enjoyed it, Brian. Nice to speak with you.
Bye for now.